Good evening, YouTube. What's going on, all you diecast fanatics? Just taking a look here at probably my two favorite Silverados from Greenlight, I think. You know, I typically do prefer the lifted trucks. But I think in the case of the Silverado, I prefer the stock suspension. And these are two different models. So the silver one is, wow, that print is tiny. Does that say? So it's a 2018, and this is a 2016. The silver one is the red line edition. I don't remember what the red one is. The silver one came from the anniversary series, and this one came from a hitch and tow. I just think these are the two best looking, especially this one here. You know, I've said it 1,000 times on the channel. This is the color for 1/64 scale cars. It just draws out all the lines. You can just see every curve of the car. All of the artistic attributes of the casting are brought out with silver paint. Now, what's kind of funny about it is that for 1-to-1 scale cars, silver is my least favorite color. But I do love it on 1/64. This truck is so well done. This could be a Kyosho. It could be, I mean, to me, this thing looks as nice. If Tomica Limited Vintage were to do this truck, which obviously they're not, I don't think it would be, if it were nicer than this, I can't imagine it being much nicer. It's just so well done. One of the basic things I do, or if you want to get a sense of how well the casting is done, look at it from every angle. This rear quarter angle is the most I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but this angle right here will expose casting flaws more than any other angle. This angle is usually the safest angle. This angle, the front.
The costume I want is going to be $100 with the hair and the shoes.
Okay. I'm doing a video, okay?
Could you do that then?
We'll see. The front quarter angle is usually not too much of a, I don't know, this angle, sometimes it can be detrimental, but it's always the rear quarter angle that this angle right here will expose. See, to me, this one here also looks fantastic. Now, the red line edition, kind of cool. The wheels have a little red mark. So when the vehicle's moving, it looks like, basically it looks like a red ring. Only seen one of these in person. But anyways, Cool trucks. I like them. Silver is number 3330. The red is number 1608. Another thing, another notable feature, the red one has the bed liner. Silver one does not. But, yep, I really dig both of those castings. All right, so that's the first part of the video. Really, I just got out some cars. I look at a lot of Nissan, and I look at a lot of Toyota. Those are, Toyota's my favorite brand to collect. Nissan is up there. And obviously, I enjoy the Kyosho Ferraris. But a brand that I really do like and I probably should get more into is Mazda. So we're going to take a look at some premium detailed Mazda castings. I know this one was seen not all that long ago. This is a Konami, cars of the 80s. And all of these cars that we're going to look at would qualify for the premium detailed category. So they're all going to be, most of them are metal body plastic based. There's one that is metal on metal. But they all have rubber tires. They all have prototypical wheels. They all have either lens headlights and or lens taillights. So, and they're all very well replicated. So I guess what I'll do is I will run through the Konami cars first. There's only 3 of them. And then we have 1, 2, 3 Kyosho. And then we have a couple others. This is a Konami Mazda Familia rotary coupe. A sick little car. These little Familias they've climbed a little bit. Konami, since I've been collecting import diecast, Konami's really haven't fluctuated in price. The Toyota Starlet has always been the holy grail of the Konami brand. And everything else has just kind of is what it is. Some of it's really hard to find. But this car was $10 to $15 when I started collecting. And you might still be able to find it for that price. But the last couple times I've looked, it seems like people are trying to get 25, somewhere in that range. This is one of 2 colors that I know it was available in. It was also available in white, and I don't know for sure if there was a 3rd color. But beautiful front and back ends with the lens headlights and taillights. It's got a nice little stance, nice prototypical wheels. It's got a nice silhouette. I love the little surf line that runs from the... basically, it's not a surf line, actually, because it runs the length of the car. I don't know. I just like the shape of this little car. Take one more look at the tail lights here. So I apologize. These are not transparent lens tail lights. They are chromed and painted, but highly detailed nevertheless. So, Konami is not the best diecast brand on the block. They're definitely probably a third-rate brand, I would say, as far as premium import diecast goes, because Tomoka Limited Vintage and Kyosho are both going to sit at the top for me. It's hard for me to pick between the two. The build quality is much better on TLV, but I think if you could, I mean, it's like Greenlight and Auto World. If you could take Greenlight's tooling catalog and have Auto World make the cars with their build quality, and design them and all that kind of stuff, that would be ideal. And I feel the same way about TLV and Kyosho. Kyosho has the tooling catalog. TLV has the superior design ability as well as the superior build quality. Another Konami, Mazda. This is a first generation Mazda RX-7 Savannah. Awesome little car here in green. This car was also available in red. And I think there might have been a yellow one too. Kyosho also did this car. At some point I would like to pick that one up just so I could have it and compare it. But the other reason that I want to get it is to compare it to the or because not to compare it, but I with Kyosho I have a second gen RX-7, and I think the second gen is probably my favorite body style. But awesome car. This one does have lens tail lights for sure, with indicators and reverse lights. Also prototypical wheels. All of the weather stripping around the glass is detailed. It's a highly detailed interior. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of the interior. Just a really cool little car. And it would have lens headlights, but this particular model doesn't have headlights, as they are down. Alright, so that's it for Konami. Now we're going to look at some Kyosho. And basically, we're going to just look at the evolution of the Mazda flagship sports car. And we will start with this Mazda Savannah RX-3. Again, this is made by Kyosho. I absolutely love Kyosho wheels. No question that they do the best wheels. This is actually a car that, if I were ever to restore a JNC car, it would probably be between a Ken Mary Skyline and a Mazda RX-3. Those are probably my two favorite. As much as I love Toyota, none of their early stuff really does much for me. I love collecting it, but I don't really dig their cars so much for an actual, like, something I would drive until probably the early to mid 1980s. I just think that the artistic design of the Mazdas and Nissans were more aesthetically appealing to me. Like this car here, I love the lines on this car. Little fastback. It's got a great little stance. Very distinctive features. I mean, that right there is just awesome looking. I love the fact that I got this in black too, although it's never my first choice. All right, so that's the Kyosho RX3. Now we're going to go to the second gen RX7. This one I did get in the right color. Another absolutely beautiful car from Kyosho, and some more amazing prototypical wheels done by Kyosho. I just love what Kyosho does. As nice as Konami is, you know, they're nice little cars, but they'll miss the stance from time to time. The details are a little bit less refined, and, you know, they can be a little bit more sloppy. With Kyosho, it's a much more refined build, assembly of the car, and you never get stance issues with Kyosho. I don't think of the 60 Kyosho castings that I have, and I don't have a single duplicate casting, I don't think a single one of them has any kind of a stance issue whatsoever. I mean, look how low this thing sits to the ground. That is proper right there. That is a proper stance. This one does have transparent lens. They're not headlights, but almost like warning lights, or maybe they are headlights. I don't know. See a little bit of a front axle issue. Not a big deal there. And then on the back, you've got your lens tail lights, which, you know, I always say when they do any green light does this a lot. They'll do a lensed headlight or tail light, and then they'll put a tampo over the top of it. I'm not a fan of that. The tampo needs to go behind it on the back side of it. That is where you get the best look and the most realistic look. But I still love this little car. Mazda RX-7 Savannah. Okay, the last Kyosho is going to be the Mazda RX-8. A very unique looking car. It's basically a 2.5 door with a rear suicide door. But, you know, for as cookie cutter as late model cars can be, this one certainly is not that. And this is just another example of the superiority of Kyosho's ability to make prototypical wheels. These wheels look amazing. All Kyosho wheels look amazing. And this car, you do have lens headlights and tail lights. I apologize for the shaky camera. You have a very definitive Mazda logo. And black on this wouldn't have been my first choice, but it was all that was available. And I don't regret it, because the car looks great in black. You know, it's just the whole 1/64 scale, hides the detail, that kind of thing. I love 1/24 scale, 1/18 scale castings in black. It's just not my first choice for cars this small. But with that said, this one does look really nice. So we got a couple more. This is a Tomica Limited Vintage. Little Mazda Luce, I think is pronounced. And you can see Tomica Limited Vintage also does a very nice job with the OEM wheels, but not as nice as Kyosho. They do a nicer job on the lens headlights and taillights, though. And with TLV, you get suspension. You don't get that with Kyosho. softer rubber tires with TLV. You get metal on metal. Just very solid cars. The last car is from Aoshima, which is another Japanese premium brand. Now they specialize in 1 to 24 scale model kits, but they do occasionally make 1 to 64 scale cars. Although they don't really do stock cars, they do custom. This is basically a souped up version of the Mazda RX-3, similar to the one we saw from Kyosho. But you can see here, this one has the really wide fender flares. It's lower suspension, much lower to the ground. Deep dish aftermarket wheels. But you still get lens headlights and taillights. And you still get all of the detail. You get a nice spoiler there on the back. This also came out in red. The car is red, but the big fenders are black. I didn't care much for that look, so I sold that one and kept the black one. There's a closer look at your taillights. So, you know, Greenlight back in the day, they did a little series called Stock and Custom. Well, this is kind of your stock and custom. I don't think these are the same year. But they could be. I mean, I just don't know. If they're not too far apart, I don't think. But I like the fact that they're very similar. You have a nice example of what the stock car looks like, driving it off the dealership lot. And then you have a nice example of what the Weekend Warrior customized version of the car would look like. And I have to say, I like both a lot. I don't really prefer one over the other. It's not a terrible little collection of Mazda. I certainly have more Toyota and Nissan. But I think I have more Mazda than I do Honda, though. You know, for as popular a brand as Honda is, it just doesn't seem like there's much of it in the form of premium 1 to 64 scale diecast. Kyosho has done Honda. They haven't done much of it. Konami did a little bit of Honda. Tomoka Limited Vintage has done a little bit of Honda. But all of those brands have done far more Nissan and Toyota than they have Honda. And something's going on with Toyota because you're just not seeing a lot of Toyota diecast being made today. I've heard theories that they've really tightened up on their licensing. And I've heard that theory from somebody who's pretty well in the know, so I think it's, you know, it's probably a fairly logical and realistic theory. So I'm still getting used to the layout. You know, I wish that there was a better way to do these with these videos with a more stationary camera. I think the only option is going to be to just bite the bullet and purchase a GoPro, because the iPad is just too big to maneuver. And I mean, I can maneuver it fine. I mean, I can do videos all day like this, but to set it up stationary, I've only got one angle, and this is the angle. So I don't know. Or maybe I don't think I could get this angle. So close up of the front door. One of these days I may build out the inside of that store. There's the garage. You can see right through the back. I don't know if I did close-ups of this on the layout video. There's some of the detail. I'm sure this close-up you can see a lot of flaws. Or maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to watch it back. But I did have a hell of a lot of fun making this thing. It was a blast. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I would definitely encourage anybody that collects diecast to make one of these layouts. You know, if nothing else, just to photograph your cars or to display your cars, or if you make videos, that's the main purpose of my layouts, is just backdrop. But I guess everything is different for everyone, but if you guys are anything like me, you would thoroughly enjoy a project like this. So there you go. I don't know what the next video is going to be. Well, actually I do. I'm going to actually wrap this one up, and I'm going to make the other one. So happy Friday night. Let's have a good 3-day weekend, and I will be back shortly with video number 2 of 2 on this Friday, August 31st.